Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the Summit 5 qualifiers. We're here in this matchup. It's going to be the EU finals of Phase 1. Absolutely, positively, completely, and utterly excited to be bringing this one to you today. It's going to be, again, Virtus Pro facing off against Flipside Tactics, and I'm not going to be alone through this endeavor. Lyrical Dota, joined by the marvelous, magnificent MotPax. My man, how are you doing?
Oh, I am just, I'm up nice and early. I really shouldn't say early. It's early for you, I should be saying. You know, you're up kind of early, right? You've been up all night doing some more Dota, and now you're moving on into the EU. You're globetrotting.
It's good stuff, man. I love to do it, but we have a little bit of a story to tell here. Picks are coming fast and the furious, and only 20 seconds of reserve time on Flipside Tactics. They came in literally 10 seconds under the buzzer from getting a Game 1 forfeit, and they're able to make their way into this one. And so because of that, we are going to have Game 1 played. They're going to have a level 3 penalty for both this game and game number 2, but as you can see, starting it off strong, they take the IO there into the, well, first pick overall, and then Faceless Void Disruptor followed up by the ALK. So a lot of stuff coming out. I'm curious to see how this goes from this point forward.
Yeah, IO plus Alchemist. So if that guy wasn't hard enough to kill already in that mid lane, you're now going to have the IO backing him up the entire time. So that could be a little bit frustrating. The other big part should be a lot of bottle control as well. So side of Virtus Pro, we have the straight up Faceless Void. And we'll see. I know CIS, they've been kind of playing around the hero, making his way around from position 1 back into the off lane, doing his normal stuff. We'll see where they do end up throwing that guy. And then the Disruptor, who's got to be the fastest rising hero right now, out of everybody. This guy is just skyrocketing to tier 1 position.
Yeah, it seems like when people were running him a lot, it was like Ad Finum who were running him in conjunction with a bounty hunter, and then you would have the track into Glimpse, and it was just such this strong combo that would be able to decimate your opponents, where you're constantly able to find that catch, and it was just so great for that hero. And I kind of think that there's not a great substitute for him. I mean, nobody does what Disruptor does in this game, and also really great against the IO, pretty decent against the Alchemist too if you're capable of bringing him back. I'm loving it all around, and we're also going to be seeing that Ancient Apparition ban, no great surprise there, as well as the Witch Doctor and that Juggernaut. So, Flipside Tactics, I gotta say that running the Alchemist this early, I don't think that it's too big of an issue, because he can really be one of those heroes that just takes over a game if you're not careful.
Yep. They've also got that ban out on the Ancient Apparition as well, of course, so not too concerned. Definitely the #1 counter when it comes to trying to bring down that Alk. And it is something that they've done before in the past. I believe the last time they did go for one of the more classic setup heroes, and it was an off-lane Nyx Assassin. So someone who likes to roam around that map, set up for the relocate ganks in a lot of ways, do your scouting if that's how you're going to be playing the IO. Because you're always looking for that aggressive playstyle. You can have it rather than just the relocate saves in the middle of the fights. Mm-hmm. And they actually wound up with the Weaver Witch Doctor to finish that one off. So the Witch Doctor's already removed, but if they're thinking towards minus armor synergy with the heavy physical right clicks of the Weaver from the long range, the acid helping out stacked on top of what you would assume will be an eventual Deso, could be a nice little combination if they find it in a another scenario other than the game they already did. But this is a Disruptor and a Faceless Void, so I don't know if I want to be picking Weaver versus Chrono and Static Storm, two things that just totally shut down your ultimate.
Yeah, that is something that could be a bit of an issue, and we'll have to see if they're capable of dealing with it, if that is indeed a route that they want to go for. I gotta say that the Faceless Void Disruptor combo just always seems so strong to me, and you can combo this together with almost anything. It's not like a tremendous amount of damage, but it's just that setup for it to come about. And maybe you think about running an Invoker at a certain point here on G for Virtus Pro. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And I feel like he's played that hero a good amount of times, if I'm not mistaken. Any other ones, like high damage supports, possibly thinking about the Phoenix, although that hero isn't picked a ton in EU from what I've seen. It's still one of those great options if you wanted to try and combo that together with it as well.
Oh yeah, Phoenix. Although you don't get the solid lockdown of some other supports, which is sometimes what you'll see paired with the Disruptor. When you already have a Faceless Void in the offlane, I could definitely see going for that Phoenix as well, just because it is an Alchemist, right? There's the IO too, who's a little bit slippery, and it can be definitely very handy to get that Wind Ray going. Burned out. Yeah, there you go. Easy Dota. I mean, that's just what a hero. How could you not take Phoenix? Maybe they'll go for something like the Juggernaut was banned out actually. So maybe towards like the Lifestealer paired up with the IO, the triple relocate,
All right.
and also being able to rage out into the destruction of the egg. The anything with a Manta though can also be pretty good. Just
Yeah, I would
kind of
agree.
bring them down.
It feels like that would be pretty strong, and they're going to go for the Vengeful Spirit now. A second counter. Well, counter is maybe a bit too strong of a word. A second answer to the Faceless Void Chronosphere, if that big bad alchemist happens to get caught in it, they're going to be able to either swap or find the relocate out. So I do like that. The other option that they could end up now going for is just trying to get a couple more heroes to work together. Like you talked about that Weaver again, the Agnum Scepter upgraded ultimate. It's one of the best in the games if you do end up being able to get it. So I like it. It's pretty good stuff. Let's see, anything else now? We've only got a couple more seconds left for Virtus Pro. They actually have less reserve time right now than Flipside. How did this happen?
Well, they'll go with another classic combo hero when it comes to this big AoE. Probably the biggest one when it does turn to the position 1 slot. The call down from the gyrocopter. All that flat cannon roaring out. Another thing to consider, I think, when you're talking about picking heroes up against the Faceless Void is that time dilation, too. It is something that can just wreck certain heroes, like maybe if you're dependent on your Blink, or like Weaver specifically. He doesn't even just get that destroyed by Chrono. It's more so about the fact that he can't just keep Shikuching through the fights, or, just being totally locked in place. Also not a very fun time, but be the Nature's Prophet off lane. So I think a lot of people, when you look at this, you tend to start thinking about like AoE control. Perhaps maybe like a Slardar position one would be something that would kind of round out this draft in terms of like still getting that minus armor, still getting a little bit of control. But when you're up against someone like Virtus Pro and they're going for this massive AoE wombo combo team fight, maybe you're not too concerned about your initiation in the AoE because there's just so much counter initiation that you don't even want to be playing the game that way. More about the split push with like the Radiance Alchemist. And we've seen a couple strategies where they just like push the game. They don't care if they're down 20 kills. They just kind of win.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Flipside can try something like that again.
You know, I honestly wouldn't even hate like going back for a tiny at this point and trying to go for a super rat-tastic game. They end up taking out the Night Stalker, obviously wanting to limit that vision, and the Puck would have rounded out Virtus Pro's draft pretty nicely as far as a hero that's capable of fighting there in the mid game. I do really like, though, the idea of maybe Virtus Pro going back for an Invoker at this stage. That feels incredibly strong to me if that's something that they would want to opt for. But Flipside, for the moment, I kind of think that at this stage you just kind of want to go for like split push game. They're not going to be able to out team fight Faceless Void, Disruptor, Phoenix, Gyrocopter anyways, so maybe just try and play a different game.
Yeah, I think VP will probably end up with the Queen of Pain, I'd have to guess. Only because that much I tend to like it versus like Alchemist and Armlet heroes in general who are trying to like get on that last little bit of sliver of HP, and then you just get this massive overarching sonic wave, which pairs up pretty well with like the Faceless Void, the Disruptor, the Phoenix, trying to sit on top. And on the flip side, so this will be a position 1 Nature's Prophet then, it would seem.
Interesting. Oh god.
Okay, some more Tinker Dota. Alright. Solid 4 heroes to make space for G right now. Like, you look at these heroes, they can all rotate relatively early. They can all have an impact early on. They should be able to rotate to Tinker as well, like at the towers, throw out some spells. Quick dives by the Phoenix as well. I feel like G has a lot of stuff covering them here. And you've kind of gotten into a game where, yeah, they have the IO relocate, but if you have a Blink Dagger on most of your heroes, it's pretty hard for the relocate to actually catch you out. So obviously G will be building into that as a Tinker. And the Nature's Prophet, though, maybe with those 3 heroes together, it's a little bit worrisome. But we all know how slippery Tinker is. He's pretty hard to track down unless you're like camping the wave as he's TPing in.
No, it's absolutely true. And the draft right now from Flipside really does not have a great answer to him outside of like Nature's Prophet, Ravage into a Vengeful Spirit stun, and hopefully trying to pair that with something coming from the Alchemist. But honestly, this seems to me to be the Alchemist that is going to end up going for... All right, hold on. I'm going to start the timer right the heck now. I've had enough of your shenanigans, Mr. Flipside. But it seems like it's a draft where Tinker can really get away with going incredibly ham. And on the side of Flipside, it seems like it's just going to be like the Alchemist Ghetto Naga Siren build that they're going to try and go for.
Yeah, maybe that's why G's thinking like he wants to go in towards this Tinker. Just try and counter the split push. How, let's see. So, Tanky Alchemist takes the mid. They could be looking for the Roshan on the Radiant side. Not really a big concern for the Dire. However, they definitely have the heroes to fight it if there's, like, if every tower is not down around the Rosh pit. That would just be an extremely dangerous decision by Flipside to go for that one.
Let's see. Just doing one thing, checking in with everybody to make sure everything's all good. Wonderful. Oh, look at this. I'm so good at typing while simultaneously casting. Do you see how I said literally nothing while I was typing to somebody else? Some good stuff. So what do you think about this Tidehunter? To me, this feels like such an interesting pick given the context of the rest of their draft. Like, it seems to me that they're just trying to throw out this hero to be somebody that can sort of dissuade VP from trying to dive them, like trying to dive towers. But I honestly, they don't have a ton of follow-up damage after the Ravage. Like, if VP get all of their level 6s up in decent time, I kind of feel like they're always going to be able to fight into Flipside, even if a Ravage comes out.
Yeah, it's pretty scary this game as well because you are up against the Static Storm as well as the Chronosphere too. So getting off that perfect Ravage and trying to get, even just getting off a Ravage during the team fights is certainly worrisome. Whereas that's something that's that's one of the biggest concerns about the Tidehunter, because if he doesn't get off that Ravage, that is just like, it's so low chance that you're going to win that fight. There are not any real high armor heroes necessarily, so a lot of physical damage should be kind of the answer here. Decent ranged heroes with the side flip side to try and deal with the egg. The Manta from the Alchemist will also be a good solution towards the Fire Spirits.
Yeah.
But Ravage doesn't do anything against like a lot of the heroes with the side flip side to try and deal with the egg. The Manta from the Alchemist will also be a good solution towards the Fire Spirits.
Yeah.
But Ravage doesn't do anything against like a lot of their ultimates. Like Ravage doesn't stop, Static Storm, doesn't stop Chrono, doesn't stop the egg. There's a lot of things that when you kind of think about Ravage breaking up combos and everything like that between like your black holes and all that, not going to be that glorious hero this game. It'll be more so like repositioning during the fight, maybe getting in for a nice anchor smash and a couple waves of tears.
I'm losing my mind, but it's all good. Yeah, I would agree. The wave of terror too, and the minus armor, being able to combo those all together, it feels like basically this Alchemist just needs to get huge, and then once that happens, they're going to be in a much better situation. But the sort of in-between time, once these ultimates are online for VP, it just feels like it's going to be such a difficult game for them. As we see No Fear move out and place down a ward in the mid lane that might have gotten scouted. There's a ping that came out very rapidly from Vanscore, so see if that indeed was something that came about.
Yeah, right off the bat, it certainly seems like it'll be a game that going to come down to a lot of tactics, I would say, for the side of Flipside, where they're trying to like position themselves properly across the map, have to make sure, like, split pushing, everything like that. It's going to be a lot of discussion about lanes for like the whole game. Whereas VP, it's much more about those team fights and like, when do we want to smoke up, or what level do you have, or when's your Blink Dagger done? Like, let's get in there, let's try and start a fight. Whereas Flipside, just like, no, never. No, I do not want to fight you guys. No, thank you.
No, it's
We've
true.
come for your throne, and that's all we're really concerned about.
It's definitely two teams playing very different games, and the one thing that I would say into the favor of Flipside is that VP don't have the greatest heroes for actually just right-clicking the towers down. Like, they've got a ton of wave clear with the Gyrocopter, with the Tinker, I mean, the Phoenix. Yoku not necessarily the greatest on the Faceless Void, but he drops his Fairy Fire on the ground. Come and get it, he says. There's a lot of shenanigans going on in this series, I gotta say. But
Yoko's been watching some NA Dota or something.
trying to do his best impersonation, absolutely. A little bit of a battle for the rune. That's going to end up being the Alchemist picking it up, though. So takes that one for himself, gets some Grievel's Greed bonus gold, and it's off on his merry little way.
Yeah, this should be a extremely boring mid lane. Acid, laser spam, lots of spam going both ways. Everything just kind of coming down to the runes in a lot of ways. See who can spam the most.
Oh man, Alchemist.
Yeah, G just being able to deny the last hits too, like where he can as the acid's perhaps down a little bit later on. Just go for the denies and ensure that he can obviously just throw out that blind to make sure Tame My Wild can't last it. It's been very frustrating for him.
Yeah, it's not been the easiest game so far. They were able to, at least for the moment, sort of force the Phoenix back and into the jungle, but it just means he's going to be making those stacks off to the side for the Tinker to catch up with eventually. And honestly, Tinker's doing a great job already. 4-0 off the start. Maybe it's just going to be for an acceleration, not even to try and catch up. This off lane of FNG and as well as Aloha Dance up against Ashlo and the Tide Hunter, it could be a pretty rough lane. I think that there's some kill potential here if Tide isn't careful.
Yeah, it's always pretty worrisome when you're up against the Disruptors and offlaner. He's one of the most frustrating ones because he can just punish a single step. You walk over once to that side pole camp just to try and get a single last hit on a big creep because you're just like, yo, that is so much experience. And he's just going to pull you back, and the core has enough time to get over there and kill you. But being nice and beefy, they don't have like a nice nuking support or anything like a Bane, and then none of that damage is going to be soaking on through that Tide Hunter.
Right.
So Shasha should be okay as long as he keeps his HP up around like 40%.
Well, we'll see if he's capable of doing that. Down bottom, taking a lot of damage. And for MetPlum, and Yoku doesn't end up getting a bash and is forced to time walk away. So, again, Sidoi just causing trouble. This is a very frustrating safe lane to go up against. Actually, they're going to be able to block him in. They end up being able to get the full block, and Yoku's going to go down. First blood going the way of the Nature's Prophet. Oh my goodness, that was very well done.
Yeah, no tangos, no quelling blade, just out of there. That was pretty comical. It's like they were waiting for that one. Sidoi just right away, the second he time walked over there, he started sending over that tree, and so good heads up play there by him. And even have No Fear down here, like come down from the rune rotation. Now he's just down here like, well, I can sit next to you for a little bit, but just gonna be taking away a little bit of Yoku's experience. Anytime the wave's like here, there's no way he should be able to die.
Yeah. Well, and they're trying to keep it back as much as possible and just zone out No Fear whenever they're capable of doing it. It's actually a pretty nice answer to the Faceless Void in general, because you're now in this situation where you get very slow DOT from all those treants. You're not really going to be able to time walk away from it effectively because it's on a really long cooldown, and it doesn't seem like he has a great answer all around at all.
Now, plus factor in like the heavier right clicks that'll come out from the Vengeful Spear once she either just throws the Wave of Terror on you or she gets a few points up to the Vengeance Aura. It's a very frustrating lane. Nature's Prophet has just been someone that's been able to still body up that Faceless Void, despite him being one of the best and most survivable offlaners. There's not much you can do, because then one support rotation comes in after you've been slowly withered down. Mid lane again. Now catching up here from Tame My Wild, though, and spamming out some acid. Sunray just comes in for some harass.
Just a casual, great nuke damage going on to him. No Fear actually taking a lot of damage. The IO right clicks have never been this scary, and he also has a range creep chasing
Get him, range creep.
It's the scariest thing in the world. Little ball of light chasing
He's still going. Look at this guy. He's not even done with him. To the ends of the earth.
Havechi.
I fight for the Radiance. Oh, no.
It's good stuff. Oh, I didn't quite get the CS either. My goodness, the things that we find. But yeah, it's looking a little bit like an okay start right now for the side of VP. They've got their carry, the top of the net or top of the last hitting charts, as well as the Tinker is doing a decent job against the Alchemist. But as I'm saying that
Tinker,
smoke rotation, you gotta be a little bit careful.
He's been missing bottom. They have a ward though. They should know.
Oh god, no! They're not going to be able to be there in time though. Sunray trying to keep him alive, not going to be able to do it. And they find the kill. Alchemist picking off that Tinker.
Yeah, at the same time, it does look like they were able to bring back the Tide and grab a kill up on him. Not sure. Yeah, they did get the kill. No deny coming out there. It actually went over to the Gyrocopter. So, Aloha Dance will start to have himself a pretty good time here. Phase Boots, Wraith Band, and 900 gold. If he wants to go right into that helm, could be a good start towards stacking some ancients for himself.
Absolutely, and particularly because he's not going to be able to... Well, probably the team is not going to want him to farm out the jungle. I would imagine that that's going to be reserved for the Tinker, allow him to accelerate into those boots of travel and start making things happen around the map here. Well, meanwhile, in the jungle, though, No Fear is still trying to see if they can scout somebody. It doesn't look like they're going to do it. Instead, just going to blade on a ward, get eyes on these stacks that are in the jungle, and this maybe is going to come back to... be a very pivotal point here. Can they deny out this Alchemist the farm that he wants?
Yeah, how many stacks does he have in for himself? So he's got like one, pretty much only one real stack going for him. Oh no, they got two. Okay, all
That's
right.
actually four of the mud golems. That's huge.
Yeah.
If they can stop that one from happening again, this would be really enormous. And it looks like they're going to run into Vanscore for the moment. Don't quite have eyes on him as of yet, and they are going to be diving in for this one. They get the catch, and Sunray's going to come through. That's going to be a quick and easy kill. No luck in terms of being able to stop that. And this is going to sort of...
Yeah, they have a haste rune on that disruptor, but Tamer gets back in time. That could have been scary.
Oh, and that's going to end up being a lot of gold going the way of Aloha Dance. Very frustrating for Tamar Wild. Not really going to be able to stop this from happening. Throws it out. Looks like they're going to try and go for a battle. The call down hits onto several. Sudoi is going to be doing a lot of damage. Aloha Dance and No Fear so low, but they're not going to be able to find the kill. The haste rune on that disruptor, keeping them alive. And they stole one of the stacks, but not the bigger one.
Yeah, this is like a 6.83 maneuver, whatever patch we had Shadow Fiend. This used to happen all the time. It would be Gyrocopter was picked for one of the best parts about him was that right when he hit level 6, it used to be all about that TP down to like the tier 1, and you came down, you killed the enemy carry, and everyone's like, wow, you made that level 6 or 7 rotation. Shocking thing to do, but when it came down to all these mids that back in the day, kids, mids used to farm this camp all the time, and then Ice Frog told a story about cloak resistance auras that stacked from camps, and now no one does that really. But anyway, Alchemist still does do that because his shit is physical. And one of the best things about Gyrocopter is that you can make that smoke rotation in with your supports, and rather than going to the lane, you'd go into the jungle, you'd plant down the ward, and you had not only Flat Cannon try and clear out the camps, but if they make the contest like that, where the rest of the heroes come in like, hey, get away from our camps, you just throw down a call down, launches some of that AoE, and just total destruction being launched from his, like, hellfire of a, I don't even know what you call this thing, the Death Copter.
It's something special, that's for sure. It's not necessarily the best. Well, Tinker taking a good amount of damage over here in the jungle too, by the way. Yeah, and it looks like, again, they use a lot to make sure that the Tamar Wild is capable of finishing off that stack. And you talk about it, the acceleration and gold. You can already see it coming into play. He's 500 gold up on top of that Gyrocopter now, despite having a little bit of a rough start. And I feel like this is only going to end up increasing from here. I really want to see how the Tinker plays it from this point on, because he's gone for the 4 points in March, which does mean he's not going to be able to do as much as far as like mid-game damage is concerned in terms of team fights, but pushing out lanes is where he's going to be more often than not.
Yeah, I actually really like that, because they know that Flipside don't want to fight right now. That is not in their game plan at all, and it's going to be hard to kind of track them down and force them into anything. Like, you can think, well, they can just run into towers and force the fight that way. Well, they can, but in these situations, you look at the sustain on the side of Flipside. Like, if they get a mech for the Nature's Prophet, which is something they could have been concerned about, it doesn't look like that'll end up being the case. But just through the IO as well here, and the earlier mech that you'll get from the Tidehunter, we'll soon be picking up instead, rather than rushing on your position 1. It just means that, like, what are rockets and lasers really going to do during these fights? There's no way he was getting a kill mid, so might as well just go for the acceleration of the quick merge.
Well, and so you mentioned that you would kind of like the idea of going for a Quap more because of the ability to fight into those armlet heroes. Do you think that that would have been a better option in this situation, to try and punish that Alchemist and shut him down, or do you feel comfortable in allowing going for this type of build on the Tinker?
I think the Queen of Pain would have been a different game in a lot of ways. Like, you still wouldn't be able to kill the Alchemist in the mid with the IO there, I don't think, but it would have meant fighting early and just running at Flipside, whereas this will be a little bit more of a slightly tactical game. Like, the other 4 heroes just want to run and fight on the side of VP, and then G's just like, well, I'd rather kind of farm camps for, in waves for the next 20 minutes, and then I'll come fight. It'll be great, guys.
Well, speaking of fighting, Aloha Dance jumps in, is going to be able to find Tamar Wild right from the start. A ton of damage coming out from that Sunray. Not yet going to be able to find the kill, but might be able to do it. They're going to glimpse him back, pull him into the thick of things, and he is barely going to be able to stay alive on absolutely nothing. They actually kill off now that, oh my god, a 4-person chrono, but where's the follow-up? They don't have the damage! Oh, the March of the Machines was not in the midst of them. They ended up losing the Disruptor and that Phoenix, and all they got was Vanscore.
Oh, man. Can you imagine if that level 4 March of the Machines had been inside that chrono? That actually would have been so much damage added on top.
That's very frustrating, and again, it sort of harkens back to the point that you need to be able to have those level 6s up, and once that happens, those fights are so much better. Like, imagine Disruptor with the Static Storm being able to drop that right at the start of the fight. All of a sudden, maybe you don't even get off the Alchemist ulti, and he just pops. All of these things just need to be able to work together, and it does give me a lot of faith about how VP's draft is going to go moving forward. Like, they are always going to be able to take that fight. They almost completely destroyed them, and they didn't have almost any of their ultis up.
Yeah, now that the tomes have been released from the library here, I want to pick that up for the Disruptor. Can get up to his level 6 for FNG. For now, though, just some pretty casual pressure down bottom. Nothing, you know, both these two heroes having some decent escapes. Not enough real lockdown to punish this. There's no level 6 yet on Van score, so you're not too afraid, although he's getting solo EXP mid, so they're going to have to keep a close eye on him. Someone's just, like, watching him like a hawk right now. It's like, nope. No, still 5. Still 5.
Good stuff. No, it's so important to make sure that you're keeping track of that. And I also see that the Gyrocopter up in the top lane, he's going to be going back for that Dragon Lance that we've seen more and more often on this hero. It's just something with such great stats. Also, Io is going to be stacking up the Ancients, and it looks like it's going to be about a 3 or 4 stack at this point. So another little thing to help accelerate that Alchemist's farm. But you can see he's already almost got the Relic. Like, he is so good.
Sometimes I just watch Alchemist games and I kind of forget that they build Radiance. It's just like, what a hero. Like, it just doesn't even occur to me when I'm watching this guy. Like, I know that it's coming to that Radiance Manta Octarine, but you just see that suddenly at 12 minutes he's got 30, like, what, 4k gold? It's absurd, this hero.
It really is. And you can see the March of the Machines, he's just shrugging them off, even though he's in armlet toggle mode. Like, he's going to end up taking a couple lasers to the face, but they're going to glimpse him back now into the Static Storm, and that's actually going to be his death. An overextension, and he ends up getting punished quite heavily. Top lane, Aloha Dance, a little bit of trouble, going to be gushed up, trying to get the wraparound with these treants, and is going to be able to have the Ravage available if they want to use it, but Tom jumps forward, and they're actually just going to save it. One last swipe from Tidehunter, and he goes down. The rest of VP are actually going to think about going for this one, going to chase after this Vengeful Spear, doing a decent chunk of damage, and it's just going to go for the chase. They throw out the Magic Missile. That's going to end up maybe being a kill. No Fear staying alive, but is going to take a lot of damage from this Treants and does end up going down. Wrath of Nature comes through, also going to be able to find the Ravage. Yoku dodges that one, but isn't going to be able to turn this back around. They've already lost the Disruptor and that Phoenix.
Yeah, so it looks like that ends up being a pretty big change of that. It's probably not counting the Alchemist's death, but still, flip side, cleaning up after that one. Losing your Alchemist, not ideal in any scenario, but he only lost like 270 gold or something is the death cost right now. Like, obviously all his stuff's unreliable because it's not, you know, no towers or kills are really happening too much this early. But it's not a big deal. He just farms so fast that they need to keep up that consistent pressure, and that's hard without the Static Storm, but it's coming back up now in 10 seconds. And I like that they're contesting the stack as well.
Yeah, this is
It's
awesome.
really great having a carry that can actually contest these things early, because that's one thing about drafts against Alchemists is that sometimes you just have to like keep fighting them at the stack. Like, we've seen that time and time again, all these new Alchemist picks. That you imagine this is like a triple stack or something, and your team comes in and there's a team fight. Like, you can't take it even if you win, so you leave. And then you come back in when you see him under your ward again, farm again, and there's a team fight. We've had some games that just stall out for like 5 minutes near those dire Ancients and Roche as people try and fight over stacks with no heroes that can take them.
Ooh, there's going to be the Supernova laid down. They tried to go for the Chronosphere as well from Yoku, timing it out perfectly, but it didn't end up working out, so they're going to back out now. And yeah, I would agree with you that being able to actually contest them yourselves, it just makes all the difference in the world, because now it's not just denying farm to your opponents and slowing down their timing, it's actively stopping it and actually bringing that back to your side. And you can see that VP now, 2,000, 3,000 experience ahead, and just about even in terms of net worth, despite the fact that there's an Alchemist on the enemy team. It's just a really great sequence of events for them.
Yeah, I love that experience too, in the form of G. Like, they're roaming around as a 4-core, and like 4 heroes just kind of doing their thing, and then there's just G. Off across the map, farming camps, farming waves. He's now up to almost the Blink Dagger. Oh man, he is actually so rich right now.
Yeah,
this looks fantastic.
Okay, FNG spotting out Sashlo, gonna glimpse him back. They don't end up being able to combo that together with the Static Storm,
Chrono, though.
they end up dropping it right now, and this is gonna be the kill. So dropping everything onto him. Static Storm and Chronosphere. And that tides
and
back
then
up.
right away, you can see the pings, like one to the mid and one to the bottom. Like, go, 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 Chrono down. This is our Dota. This is how we're playing this game.
It's good stuff. That's what I was going to say is, like, even when tides back up, they can take a fight pretty effectively because they're going to have Ravage available. So I'm not sure if that's even completely worth it on the side of VP. As long as they don't lose these towers, they should be fine. And, of course, G with the Blink, with the Boots of Travel, with the Soul Ring, and now starting to rack up the gold for himself as well. This is, it's not going to be easy for them to take these tier 1s.
Yeah, and the farm commences. Radiant's delivered.
Radiant's top tower
So
is under
we can just
attack.
start maybe grouping up a little bit on the side of Flipside, trying to force like commitment from VP when it comes down to something like that Chronosphere being down. You just want to like go into a fight, maybe get like some call downs drop, the egg too. Just being wary of the Static Storm. Shoshlo, he is really close to his mech. That might be kind of the go call to get a little bit aggressive on their side.
That definitely seems strong if they're able to get it up in time. And he's almost got his level 2 ulti as well.
That's scary though. Blink Yoku. I don't want to fight anymore. I'm going back to just farming now. If I'm Flipside, I see that, I'm like, all right, nope.
Well,
Let's just split push.
the plus side again is that they don't necessarily realize that. Chronosphere is still down for the moment, but gonna jump forward. Tame My Wild in a lot of trouble. He's gonna get dropped in now and gonna go for the self stun. This is gonna be another kill. Oh, the glimpse away. Never mind the relocate away. He's able to get out. That was a huge play right there by that IO. Not able to disjoin it, and because of that, I think that he's still dead. Like, there's no question about it. But Vanscore does everything that he can in the meantime.
Yeah, that's all right though. Vanscore just babysitting his Alchemist, making sure that he won't be an easy pickoff, because there's no way you can be that deep without an IO. Like, with the glimpse and everything, just ensuring that you're going to be coming on back there for the rest of the TPs, so... Big saves, but they're going in deeper, they want more, and they're going to find Shoshlo.
There's the glimpse back, and he got a first hit bash as well, and I don't know if they're going to need to drop the Chronosphere onto this one. Could think about it. There's going to be the missile coming out, and looking for a catch as well, going to be able to find, but a nice play there. It does look like they're going to be able to find this one as he ends up trying to swap away, but nothing doing. They find another 2 down on the side of Flipside, and meanwhile, VP just looking pretty cool, calm, and collected down in their jungle.
Yeah, and you can see what they're going for on Flipside. So before this last pick, Tinker, Flipside were thinking like, okay, yeah, they're going to be diving us, they're going to be fighting us, but look what my Alchemist can do. I can just push waves, we're going to have a Nature's Prophet, so they're going to group up as 5 and fight us, and we'll just have one hero in each lane pushing just as fast as they can. It's going to be perfect. And then they pick the Tinker, and they're like, oh shit. And so G just comes up here, throws out some spam. There's no way for Tame My Wall to punish it, and he can't even contest this tower.
He's coming in and, you know, trying to do a little pump fake with the TP, and it looks like they are finally going to give that one away and instead opt to push in here in the mid lane a little bit, march the machines, and maybe a bit more on the bottom too. So what's your read right now on sort of Roche timer? Is that something that VP want to try and get for themselves, or do you think they feel comfortable just continuing to try and build up their teamfight capabilities?
They don't have the best heroes, so maybe after like Vlad's.
Well, as I'm talking about this, they bring them on back in, and they are going to be able to try and turn this back around, but they've already lost the Vengeful Spirit, and now finding a little bit more. Sasha's going to go down. They drop the Sun as well. Static Storm down on it too. They've already lost the Disruptor, but might end up being able to get away with a little bit more. Vanscore dropping low. Can they kill him off before he ends up being able to relocate back? Dropping very low, and he does finally fall. Tame My Wild getting chased down. First hit bashed again by Yoku, because why not? Let's get another one, and chasing him down is going to be able to find this kill. Possibly Sadoy. What are you doing here? He's going to end up dropping as well. They blink on in a full team wipe. My goodness, VP are pissed. They're doing a great job.
Man, that swap out of the Chrono into the Ravage that hit everyone. If Tame My Wild had have actually been there, I think they could have picked off 2 or 3 heroes. Just like, they were so low when they were stunned up. And the same thing where they have the Maelstrom done too, so like the Chain Lightning flying through. Had they actually been there, you know, prepped for that fight, Flipside could have been able to possibly do something. But when you're running the split push kind of draft, you know that things aren't always going to be perfectly synced up besides your team, right? I mean, VP are roaming as a core unit. They're always just going to be talking about the timings and moving together every single objective, every single time. They know how their whole team works in synergy, whereas Flipside are much more of like an independent squad right now between the lanes and the split push. So when you don't have that thing coming in there, it's so hard to build off of something like the Ravage of the Tidehunter. Like that spell, it just goes off and it's so glorious, but there's no follow-up because everyone's just kind of doing their own thing.
Well, and that's what we were talking about in the draft again, and you know, getting into the first phases of the ban. Like, you look at the rest of the heroes for Flipside, and they don't have any damage. They don't have any AoE. There's no Darkseer. There's no, you know, Disruptor in this case, or any of those other big damagey type of heroes that it feels like the idea of taking the Tidehunter and trying to beat VP at their own game was sort of destined to fail after the first couple of picks. They just need TMW to get huge, but it's not really happening. He's getting, you know, much more farmed than the Gyrocopter is, but he just needs so much more to carry this game.
Yeah, and that is kind of important to note, though, because, like, and you saw how long it took them to kill Tame Eyeball once the Stack Storm went down and wasn't able to stop his ultimate from getting off. Like, they don't have anything, no A or anything. It does look like Sedoy.
Oh,
We'll be going down here.
yeah, that was a nice
action.
A nice scan to be able to find him, and they actually spot out. Oh my God, is the courier going to die here too? No, they keep their eyes on the prize. Meanwhile, they jump in. Oh, the Chronosphere. Tame My Wild is caught in it as well. They went in. They're going to be able to get off the Ravage, but is there enough follow-up? And all the way fully alive, Tame My Wild getting brought down. They're just too big. There's too much damage. The laser comes in, and they find 4 again. No capabilities to stop this. You look at the Gyrocopter, got away on absolutely nothing. But my God, the team fight potential right now from VP is just immense.
Yeah, Yoku just no mercy right there. It's like, oh, is that a relocate? I have Chrono. So, like, surprise, I guess? They thought it was down or something, but Evan G just dumpsters them right in there with that Static Storm. There's just no hope if that happens to you, right? The relocate coming into the Chrono. What are you gonna do if you don't have Ravage, like, stacked up perfectly in sync again? There's just, like, no way. So what do you do now? The things are starting to definitely look very scary here for the side of Flipside as to, like, what are we going to be able to do this game? If they just keep running at us with their ultimates, how do we contest? How are we going to stay as a unit to, like, counter this? And you're not going to be smoke ganking, I don't think, on the side of Flipside. Maybe when they have a blink up on Shasha, that could be something that could help. And they could look to kind of group up with their other 4 heroes, or rather 3 heroes, rather than come in with the relocate.
It's just, exactly, that's the thing that's so difficult about it, though, is, like, even if they do end up relocating in, it's sort of based upon the assumption that VP are going to be spread out and you're capable of finding a kill, which I don't think they're really going to do. Maybe if you're able to find that Tinker as he's trying to farm somewhere, but even that's a really tough kill to make sure that you get. The only other thing I can think is just trying to out-split push
Look
a
at this
Tinker.
aggression!
Oh my God, Sasha's kind of going down again. There's so much damage coming in. They glimpse him back, and actually that means that Sunray is not going to be on him for the moment, but another bash, and he falls to the laser. Mid lane, maybe something going to happen. They swap back Aloha Dance, but he says, get over here, man. I'm going to chase him down, and suddenly he's dead before the Tinker even ends up being able to TP in. My God. Humanity.
Yeah, Shashlo just, like, missing the sign or something that was posted out front. Private property of the dire side, do not enter.
That was a much needed kill right there. Tinker TP or blinked into the Alchemist, so a little bit of a misplay, but I don't think that changes the dynamic of the game.
Oh, it's still pretty huge. We're slowing him down. 859 gold over to the Alchemist. Start filling it up into that Octarine if that's what he wants next. It's the typical build there.
Oh, God. Well, they've got the glimpse back, gonna pull him in. Actually, oh my God! The glimpse caught him as the relocate was gonna go in. And now they're gonna be able to get the IO too! Oh no.
Wow. Nice little play. This Disruptor, F&G, putting in work this game. 18 assists of their 22 kills. Yo, what a player. He must have, him and No Fear both actually at 18. So great rotations by the supports, and we talk about them always being grouped up and everything, and that just goes to show like how much these 2 supports are able to help lead this. And they're going, alright, well, we talked about like how there's all this wave clear, right? And there's no tower taking potential, and that's still going to be the case, but now you have this Agnet Scepter here for G, and this is an item that you and I have been seeing quite a bit being picked up from the Tinker games that we've been casting lately. And how it's going to help here is, oh jeez. Sedoy, he's just like, oh, I have nothing that does anything against this.
I don't think he wants to be here anymore, and he's going to end up being a little bit of trouble. It's actually, they force him back for the moment with the Tidehunter walking in towards that side, so a nice little play.
Yeah. Well, either way, the rocket spam, like, it's gonna help push them back further from the towers to allow, even though you have like really poor tower taking, the fact that like how much damage is flying out from those rockets, you do have to go further back than just the march, and it should open up a little bit of breathing room for VP to actually like get up onto that high ground and start going to work.
And that's sort of going to have to be the be-all, end-all for him. I think it's a great answer. It's just a tremendous amount of damage, and I don't believe, like, it's around 5,000 net worth lead with roughly 14,000 experience lead, and they don't really have anything to sort of slow the damage that comes out. You look at the side of Flipside, and all that they've got is like a cloak on IO, and that's it, like the mechanism, but it's really not nearly enough to be able to sustain against the magical damage that's coming in. And they're actually trying to go for the initiation onto that void, but they couldn't end up being able to get the swap out, and because of that, they're not going to be able to find the kill.
Yeah, looked like they were prepping the relocate as well, just thinking about it.
G in trouble? Maybe they throw out the Ravage. He's in trouble again, and he's going to end up going down, I believe. Yeah. Another kill going the way of Flipside. We talked about their need to find those pickoffs, and Tinker's going down.
And they now do have an Orchid up as well for Sidoi, so trying to stop that rearm be a pretty big part of that. Nothing that they'll be able to do against that is the side of G. Tame Wild runs into Yoku. It's a couple bashes for his trouble.
Doesn't look well. Okay, they're just going to go for it. Tame My Wild can go down. Really nice relocate. All of a sudden, you don't have any of your ultis online. Aloha Dance was caught in the Chronosphere. They need to get out. They can't take this fight right now. They need to escape.
Did that Chrono just come out like a moment too late to catch the eye? Was that what that was?
I believe.
Because I really liked the idea. Because where the Alchemist was, the whole point of the Chrono was that as he tried to do the tether through, he was going to get stuck. Right. But it must have been just a fraction too late.
Now capable of fighting this one if they want to. I mean, Gyrocopter's got a lot of farm, but he's still he's not immortal, and they're actually just going to run into all of these heroes.
I don't like this from Flipside. I don't know if they should be roaming out this deep. Even with the ultis down, it feels like you're kind of throwing away a little bit of a save and a defense right now if they come too deep here. Because you look at this net worth, and we're talking about how it's only, what now, about a 4k lead, but your hero is an Alchemist at 19k. So let's see, he's an Alchemist, he's gone for a split pushy build, so I'm going to rate his actual fighting potential at like, I'll be generous and give him 13.5. So I'm going to subtract like 6k from the total net worth, and they're down 11k. Like that to me, that's what it's like in an Alchemist game. Like this guy's not actually, they're much further behind than a graph would let you believe.
Oh, maybe going to be able to get vision. They glimpse him on back. Tidehunter. This is the guy that they keep on trying to take out of the fight. They realize this is their team fight potential outside of that Elk, and he ends up going down. And they can't fight. The only way that they win this game is by doing exactly what you have TMW doing up in the top lane here. Just split pushing away and trying to keep them off of your towers whenever possible.
It is not going to be an easy route to victory for them, I don't think. So how many times have we seen this damn cliff juggling Prophet? So it's the way to go these days, you know. Got to get that farm somehow. He's scouting, keeping an eye on it. It's so dangerous though, especially when they're that deep on your side of the map.
They actually have
effigy smoke. Oh,
they broke the smoke. They might realize what that means. It doesn't look like it yet. They don't end up placing the ward or the kinetic field, so Sidoi going to get out for the moment.
Oh, they're coming in mid. This is a good timing for them. Try and take out this tower, and they can head right into the Roche pit. As I do believe the the Vlad's actually still hasn't been purchased up, going for that Manta style first, but he's got cash for it if he wants it on Yoku. Might need more damage though.
G, after spamming a couple of those rockets and lasers, forced to back out again, and with him leaving, they've got to be a little bit careful. They've found the Disruptor, dropped down the Static Storm. That's going to end up being a stun on a Tame My Wild, and suddenly they also have the Supernova out. This is going to do a ton of damage. Sashlo dropping low. He might end up popping here, and unfortunately hasn't thrown out the Ravage as of yet. They end up dropping it now, and he is going to end up dying. Tame My Wild, pull back again. Can they find the kill? Swap trying to keep him alive, and unfortunately they just don't have nearly enough damage. There wasn't any follow-up after the Ravage. They're going to end up losing that. Boom, Tinker finds the kill. And now it looks like they might be ready to take a little bit more.
Relocate for the Alchemist. Ravage for the Alchemist. Swap out and save for the Alchemist. But then Tame My Wild's just like running away the whole time. So like you're throwing out all your ultimates and all your defensive spells and everything that you have to save a single kill on Tame My Wild, but it doesn't even it doesn't matter at this point. There's no follow-up to anything that they have. I don't know how you win fights, but I don't think you can. Like, split push really is the only option, even in advantageous situations, it seems.
Oh my god, and they're going to try and pull him back again, and it does look like they're going to be able to keep Yoku alive. That was a little bit scary, and they forced out a BKB. Octarine now up on Tame My Wild. I don't know if this means that they can fight, but they can at least keep on spamming out the rockets against him, and causing some trouble in that way. But no age is still taken as of yet. It might be that time to start thinking about it if you're VP, though.
It could be that they're so close to being able to close out this game that they just want to hold it for that actual high ground siege. And just decide that, like, yep, alright, I think we're going to go for it and go try and end this one. Got a couple items along the way here. I got the Lotus Orb for No Fear, going to be a nice little pickup. Vote for FNG. He's just going poverty level, picking up some stuff. And we still have to figure out what Yoku's going to be building into. I do feel like physical right-click damage would be kind of decent right now for them. Just something to try and combo up a little bit, like in the middle of these ultimates and everything, right? Yoku getting that additional magic damage and through the bash already. You got plenty of that. More attack speed, get a Maelstrom or something.
That seems really strong to me. It definitely could be the way that they want to go. Particularly because they don't necessarily need the Chronosphere, I don't think. Like, given all the other teamfight potential they've got, like, you don't have to go back for an Aghanim Scepter at this stage in the game. Canceling the TP in, the Tinker thought about it, but he does not realize that he's going to be jumped on, and there's, guess what, Sashlo, suddenly a lot of damage coming in, and can they actually finish him off? They're going to get the relocate. A really good setup for a kill there. That was so well played, and Sashlo going to celebrate a little bit with some backstrokes.
And now bottom lane though, Vanscourt does come back into a waiting Yoku, who will even throw out the Chrono. He is very salty about this IO. It's like, you keep getting these damn relocates off during my Chronos. I'm tired of it.
Some good stuff.
And he goes for a Diffusal Blade. Okay. It's a little bit interesting. Nothing that he's really purging here in this situation. Just going to be a controlling and damaging item.
Yeah. Well, he
That's
already
pretty
has the Manta style there, so getting the extra bonus
That's right,
damage.
massive mana burn.
There you go.
Tower is under attack.
I mean, it's not bad. He doesn't have the greatest attack speed in the world, but the Manta does sort of help with that. And gonna pull back Yoku. Ends up being able to Manta dodge away from the Alk stun. Pretty nifty stuff right there from VP. And now all of a sudden, you got a Blink Dagger and the Time Walk. They might be thinking about trying to take this fight. They are gonna end up turning the tide, and he's going to be controlled in here for the moment. Yoku, they've already dropped down the Supernova, looking to finish off Tame My Wild. He's going to end up falling, I believe, maybe going to be able to get this kill. The bash through, they find it, and guess what? No follow-up yet again. FNG is going to fall, but guess what? So is Sashlo, as they find another one. Vanscourt getting jumped on
where's
now
that
as
rocket
well.
going, guys?
A couple more right clicks. My goodness. They are all just exploding. The damage coming out from Tinker is just immense.
Yeah, Vanscourt just revived after that kill down bottom, relocates in there to try and save the Alchemist, and then he tries to save the Tide, and then he also just goes right back down to the graveyard. So VP looking pretty unstoppable here with this lineup and the current state of the game. Despite having the Nature's Prophet, having the Alchemist, and roaming relatively deep, they still haven't even taken this tier 1 down the bottom lane, haven't taken the tier 2, the tier 2 in the mid lane, so three towers still shockingly alive here.
They're holding off as long as
there's
possible.
that anti-gank control here from the Tinker.
Some good stuff. If they can make that work, and of course the damage already being really, really high for the Tinker. At this point, it's just all about that control, and with the single target heavy draft that Flipside has. They've just got that Alchemist they need to worry about. Get the Hex off before some of those things come out, and it's going to be curtains. TMW going to try and TP to this top lane and do his best Tinker impression, but I don't know. I'm pretty concerned about him at this point.
Yeah, if he gets caught out here by FNG, like just the glimpse. Oh, even the Tinker's here now too.
This is so
Oh,
scary.
surprise! That's an Alchemist.
What he is running up here. Apparently he wants to go in on this. This is rather bold, and they throw it on the Static Storm. FNG might end up dying, but I think that they've put themselves in a losing situation. TMW is just dead. Sadoy is going to fall as well. Meanwhile, over here at the top rune, they're going to be chasing down MetPoon. He tries to go for the swap away, but it's not nearly enough damage. They have the mana drain over on the other side. Guess what? Vanscore's going down all across the map. Everybody is dying, and can they even catch up to the Tidehunter here? They're going to have another blink up in a second, and he's just trying to swim away for the moment. They catch him right on the very edge with the Chronosphere. It looks like he is going to end up falling as well, potentially. Can they find the bashes? Can they find enough damage to get the kill? It looks like they're going to die for this one. He goes down. Godlike streak for Aloha Dance. And another 5-man wipe. When is it going to be enough, though? They got to take down these towers.
Yeah, eventually, but no real rush, it seems. Not like anyone's going to be scaling up too crazy on the side of Flipside, their current state. The Tidehunter is not in a worrisome position at all. He's at half the net worth of the Nature's Prophet. Like, that's a hero that if he gets up into those bigger items like the Refresh and everything, can actually start to turn around some of these games, but not going to be the case this time, it doesn't seem. I understand the play that was made there, where he had to go back in on the Disruptor, because if you just start running away, he's just going to chase you down, and that just means that they're going to get closer and closer for a better Static Storm, so having to just try and force it out and hope you can survive is really your only option, it seems, when you're caught out that deep versus how mobile and how well VP have been playing together as a unit.
Well, it does feel, though, like those situations, it's just, it's almost impossible to find a correct answer for them, and Alchemist at this stage, he's not necessarily the hulking giant that you would hope to be able to deal with, or at least have at this point. And now you talked about it, VP saving that Roshan, the first one of the game. It looks like it might be the one that they choose to go high ground with. And I'm not sure if this engagement that's coming up is going to favor Flipside at all.
Yeah, they have to take it, though. This is such a good spot for them to fight.
Looking forward if they can make something happen. Tame My Wild does walk up here on the high ground. They're going to glimpse away, and the Ravage comes out. A ton of damage, and Aloha Dance is going to end up falling as well, trying to keep him alive with the Sunray. They don't have enough damage. They are going to be able to get off the Supernova in conjunction with that Chronosphere onto 5. Isn't enough to find the kill. They get the stun on several, and bringing them down very low. They might be able to do it. Sashlo is going to drop. I think that they've been able to turn this one back around. TMW still too tanky, though, and he's going to run away for the moment. It looks like he should be able to TP out of there. Possibly needs a bash. They get the Hex. Oh, TMW is going to go down. Now, I think that they have enough to find this kill. Does he have enough mana to make it work for himself? I think that they might, and yeah, there's the laser. Guess what? Another 5-man wipe, and they're going to be able to take Roshan.
Started up pretty much as good as it can get, but it's not too shocking. Like, I definitely agree with the fact that they want to try and take this fight, though, because if you take the fight in your high ground with your Ravage and everything, there's just, like, no way you're going to win this game, right? Like, it doesn't go perfectly well, and this is just, you could say that on the side of VP, they obviously have all this double bubble strategies, and the Egg, and the Chrono, and the Gyro ult, like, they have wombo combo as well, but if you can pick your timing coming in from Flipside, I think that's better than the fact that when you're defending your own base, it's VP who decide when they go in. Like, you're not going to be blinking out to Ravage out here and winning a fight.
Yeah. It's definitely true, and even high ground at that point isn't necessarily the greatest. It just feels like there isn't really a solid option for Flipside as far as taking these engagements. It's just split push. They're pretty much never going to win a 5-on-5 engagement, I feel like, but they still have to take them because it slows down the game and it gives them an opportunity to make something happen across the map. And it's not an unwinnable game, it's just that you have to win in a very specific way for Flipside, with like a Vanscore relocate into tier 3 towers or something.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's starting to look like, isn't it? What does he have towards his own item progression here? The Alchemist is just doing out things. He hasn't bought anyone a Aghanim's, right? I think that he still needs, like, AC and real fighting items. I don't think you can just be this rat anymore. But at the same time, they also need this rat in order to stay in this game. So tough decisions ahead. There's not even that many good Aghanim Scepters. Like, potentially the Nature's Prophet might be the most valuable one to, again, continue the split push and maybe give them a better chance at dragging this one out. And then the Tide one's decent too.
Yeah. It's pretty good. You're not going to get, I guess, a good amount from the minus armor as well, so it's pretty solid all around. You can see, too, that the Alchemist is just doing everything within his power to try and push these waves out, continues to send the Manta-style illusions, but they're going to jump forward, and Yoku going to get very aggressive, finds the kill on that Vengeful Spirit. There's just nothing.
Dire's top tower.
And that's going to be a tier 3 tower. You said it, he doesn't even need to jump in for the Chronos, he just jumps in for the Manta-style mana drain. And he's healing up through all of this. They get the stun onto Aloha Dance. But again, what do you do against this?
Dire's top tower.
Try, I guess.
Oh, they do have that Static Storm, going to be able to bring him back. FNG barely alive for the moment. Satanic keeping him alive, the Gyrocopter. He's very tanky right now. Chronosphere finally does fall, and they were trying to do some backdoor stuff in the top lane. Flipside is going to end up losing their Alchemist, but they took down a tier 3 tower in the top lane. So good plays there by the Nature's Prophet. I'm still not sure if it's going to end up being enough, though. Well, Alk TPing in on the... Oh, his creep that he was TPing in on ended up dying, so no more TPs coming in for the Alchemist. Yoku is going to lose his Aegis. And the stun goes on to TMW. They're going to bring in the Tinker, going to be able to get the Hex off. Look at the damage coming out. Oh, the refraction from the laser, and that's going to be another 2 quick kills. On the other side, they're going to jump onto this Vengeful Spirit, trying to stay alive by virtue of that IO, but it's just not enough. They ends up being able to get the bash and finds the kill. BKB popped, still trying to run away. He's going to be able to time walk that one away, and look at the damage again from G on this Tinker, just lasering through everybody, continuing to Hex up as well. Sashlo doesn't have Ravage again for this fight, and it's in the midst of all of this, Aloha Dance is just running them down. BKB, Satanic popped again. There's just nothing. They don't have anything.
And there's still, how much time? He doesn't have, 6 full minutes here on that buyback, so they can kind of regroup, come in for another fight. The Alchemist will be back up, but not be any concern of him returning to the fight for a second time. And it looks like VP should be able to close this one out, because they are just like trolling them in their base at this point.
This is, I mean, you look at the damage from G, they're not stopping. It's 90 seconds now without a Nature's Prophet, 80 seconds without a Tide Hunter. I wonder if they're just going to let this play out. That's kind of what I'm wondering at this point.
Well, G wants more. He's just buying Daggons in their base.
Desolator.
Oh, Deso picked up here alone. It's like, look, guys, can we just end this? I'm buying a Deso on my Gyro. Like, that's the point I'm at. I'm just done. Can we please get to game 2? They made us wait. We punished them enough.
Oh my god. This game drops his Desolator because, you know, why
Fire him
not?
up.
Let's make it happen. They're going to bring him TMW again to try and keep him back, but is just going to end up being able to pop the BKB, stays alive for the moment, and it's going to be a kill on the Disruptor for the moment, but doesn't really have enough to really take anything after the fact. And the Supernova comes out again. He ends up dying. They're going to end up being able to take down this other melee barracks here, and GG finally gets called as Flipside throw in the towel. We're going to be moving on to game 2 in just a few minutes. Any final words about this game here, Mr. MotPax?
No, it was just a very specific strategy that had to go down from Flipside, and we've seen them be successful in this kind of like all push, no fight strategy before, where they just don't really care about like the kill differential. Like, we have seen them do this successfully, so I can understand why they're going for it again. But VP, just the answer of the Tinker, I think, was a pretty masterful decision there, and not really expected, I don't think, with the rest of like Wombo combo lineup. Like, they banned out a Puck, and I was leaning towards like a Queen of Pain, but getting into the Tinker was like almost the safer option, where you're not running the risk of just like running into them and losing those fights and falling behind on these cores, and you just get this massively farming level 4 straight March of the Machines Tinker. Like, what are you gonna do against that? They had no aggression to come in and try and slow him down. And great contesting early against those Alchemist stacks too. I know it was a long time ago, but we were kind of talking about that too, and I think that made a big difference to just ensure that Tame My Wild, like the Radiance was I think 15.5, which is a pretty good job by VP to slow that down.
Well, yes, definitely a pretty great job there by VP, doing what they could to be able to deal with the TMW Alchemist. And we're going to see what happens in game number 2 here as we're getting ready to start this one off again. It's a best of 3. The winner is going to move on into phase 2 of these qualifiers and face off against Elias. Stick around because we're going to be right back in just a second, yet again at Lyrical Dota at MotPax, but more importantly, the Summit 5 European qualifiers. See you all in a bit.